Have you ever ordered room service at 3 a.m. and wondered what really goes on behind those kitchen doors? What if the order wasn't for food at all, but for something unspeakable? And what chilling truth could a silent feast reveal about a hotel's darkest secrets? The room was too quiet. Hotels always carry a certain stillness, but this one felt wrong, as though the walls themselves were listening. The clock had just slid past 3 a.m. when I noticed the phone on the nightstand glowing faintly in the dark. I wasn't hungry. Not really, but something pulled me toward the laminated menu tucked beneath the lamp. Most of it was ordinary: sandwiches, pastas, overpriced salads. But near the bottom, in careful calligraphy, was something I'd never seen before. Astral Ambrosia. No description, no price, just a name. The kind of name that doesn't belong on a hotel menu, but in some crumbling manuscript locked away for centuries. I told myself it was probably a chef's joke, a branding gimmick. But the longer I stared, the stranger I felt. My skin prickled as if eyes were on me. Against my better judgment, I dialed the number. The line clicked, but no one spoke. Just breathing. My voice trembled when I asked for the dish. The response was almost inaudible, rasped and deliberate. "It will arrive shortly." The silence after that was heavier than before. Every instinct in me screamed to hang up, to leave, to forget this. But I didn't. I sat on the bed, staring at the door, counting the seconds. The knock came softly. 3 taps so faint I almost thought I imagined them. I opened the door and my blood ran cold. The hallway was empty. Empty, except for the cart. It hadn't been there moments earlier, and yet there it was, gleaming wheels, white cloth draped over the top. Behind it stood a figure, cloaked, tall, motionless, their face completely swallowed in shadow despite the bright fluorescent light above. No words passed between us. No polite room service. No smile. Just silence. They rolled the cart into the room, their movements fluid, too smooth, as if gravity didn't quite apply. Then, without so much as a glance, they slipped back out, leaving the door to shut softly behind them. The quiet after their departure was suffocating. On the cart sat a silver dome. I hesitated before lifting it, the metal cold under my fingers. The moment the lid rose, I froze. It wasn't food. The dish pulsed faintly, colors rippling across its surface like trapped northern lights. It shifted when I looked at it. Solid 1 second, liquid the next, then something I couldn't name. A smell rolled out, thick and cloying. Ozone, spices I didn't recognize, and something ancient, something wrong. I wanted to shove the cart back into the hall, to lock the door and forget. But curiosity has claws. The fork shook in my hand as I cut into the thing. It quivered, almost reacting, and a shiver tore through me. My mouth moved before my mind caught up, and I lifted the bite. The moment it touched my tongue, the world shattered. It wasn't taste, it was experience. A flood of images crashed through me. Faces I'd never seen twisted in agony. Skies blackened with storms. Vast halls carved of bone and glass, filled with whispering voices and languages that seared into my skull. Every nerve in my body screamed, yet I couldn't stop. I saw shadows crawling across the walls, moving against the lamp's light. My skin prickled as if 1,000 invisible eyes were pressing against me. The room itself shifted. The carpet pulsed faintly. The wallpaper patterns twisted and warped when I stared too long. The mirror reflected not me, but something behind me. A shape that vanished the instant I turned. My phone buzzed violently on the nightstand. An unknown number lit the screen. Against my better judgment, I answered. The sound that greeted me wasn't a voice. It was chewing, wet, slow, deliberate. The line went dead. When I looked back at the plate, the food was gone, completely empty, except for a faint glow seeping into the porcelain. And on the tray tucked beneath the fork was a folded note. My breath caught as I opened it. The letters were jagged, carved more than written. Every guest must partake. You are now part of the foundation. The walls groaned at those words. The air thickened, heavy with decay. The curtains at the window sagged as if rotting, and the bedspread seemed dustier, older. The entire room had shifted into something unfamiliar, something ancient. I stumbled to the door and yanked it open, but the hallway didn't stretch normally anymore. It elongated, lights flickering endlessly in both directions, warping like a tunnel with no end. Slamming it shut, I turned back. The shadows in the room no longer waited politely in corners. They stretched, creeping toward me, twisting with forms that suggested limbs, faces, hungers. The phone rang again. This time I couldn't bring myself to answer. My eyes darted back to the cart. The plate still glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. The note burned in my hand, and then came the knock. Not at the door, from the wall, from beneath the bed, from behind the mirror. I pressed myself against the corner, my pulse hammering. The whispers began then, low, countless, weaving through each other until the words blurred. But I could make out fragments: join, feast, foundation, forever. The shadows thickened, crawling closer, until the entire room seemed alive. And just before the lamp flickered out, plunging me into total blackness, I heard it, a whisper, inches from my ear though no one was there.